Hey there, educators. It's Rob Almy. I want to show you a couple of new things that are available to you in Google Chrome that I hope that you will find useful and might be some shortcuts for you. The first thing that I want to show you is AI mode in Google search. And so in order to demonstrate that to you, you're going to navigate over to Google search and just conduct a search. And as you do so, I'm going to show you how to do it first without AI mode and then in AI mode. And so I have put in here a question already. It says, compare the life cycle of a monarch butterfly with the biblical concept of transformation, metamorphosis in Romans 12. Provide 3 lesson activity ideas for 4th graders that bridge the science and the scripture. I'm first going to do that with a regular Google search, and then I'm going to turn and do it in AI mode so that you can see a difference. Now remember, when we do a regular Google search, what's going to happen is that we're going to get an AI overview, and then what we're going to get is a series of websites. And we've had those series of websites for many years now when we have done Google searches, and you have to click through each one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and run that as a regular Google search, and let's see what we get. So if you look here, here's our AI overview, which is nice. And I can click under that and get some ideas. Also, now I have all of these websites that I would have to click through and conglomerate together in order to come up with a lesson plan and some thoughts around the prompt that we did. Let's go back to our Google search now. And this time, instead of doing just regular Google search, I'm going to go ahead and paste that same thing in the Google search, but this time I'm going to hit AI mode over here on the right. You should see that over on the right there on your Google search page. So let me go ahead and click that, and let's see what difference it is. Okay, so this time you see that it's not going to give you an AI overview per se, and it's not going to give us a series of websites. What it has done is it has simply taken us to Gemini, and it's really a feature of Gemini that's in Google search. And instead of us having to click through 15 or 20 different websites to compare the life cycle of a monarch butterfly with the biblical concept of transformation and metamorphosis in Romans 12, it has given that all for me right here. And so as you are searching, you might want to do the traditional search as we did the first time, or if you are looking for it to kind of take everything together and to give you a finished project, that's when you want to use the overview, the AI overview, the AI mode in Google search. And so that's one of the features that I want to show you for today. A second feature that I want to show you has to do with this little button up here that you can see my cursor running around and off. Ask Gemini. Ask Gemini. This is a little bit different than the AI mode in Google search. This is for when you come to a particular website, and instead of taking that URL from the website, opening up Gemini, pasting it in, instead of taking all of the information and copying and pasting it from the website and putting it in Gemini, what you can now do is just hit this Ask Gemini button, and over on the right side, a Gemini window called a sidebar is going to open up. And in that Gemini sidebar, you can treat it just like you were in Gemini, and it's going to look at that page that you are on and interact with it. So that gives you some information or whatever you want. So let's go through a few of these. I'm going to do one for kind of lower school, one for middle school, and one for high school so that you can see how it works. So for the one for lower school, I'm on this website up here called Constitution Center, the Constitution Articles, and this is about Article 1 of the Constitution. Now, if I was a second grade teacher and I was trying to teach my students about the legislative process and I came across this website, I might think the website's pretty good, but as you can see, it's probably far more detailed and far more complicated than it needs to be for a second grade class. But say I really like the information there, and I would love for it to be put into a place where second graders could go ahead and read it. So all I have to do is come over here to my Ask Gemini button, and you click that. And I'm going to come down here and move myself out of the way. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and type in here into the chat box, just like I would in normal Gemini, this particular prompt. Rewrite this entire page at a second grade reading level so that I can use it for a morning read aloud. Now, I used a little trick there. I have something called Whisper Flow where I just talk into it and it types for me. You don't have that. You'd have to type it out. So I said rewrite the entire page at a second grade reading level so that I can use it for a morning read aloud. Now, I could change the model down here from fast to thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and put thinking. And then I'm going to hit submit. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at this page right here. And you can see it's going to turn it in to something that I can use. It says our country has a very important set of rules called the Constitution. The first part of the paper, called Article 1, tells us about the group that makes our laws. This group is called Congress. Congress is made up of two different groups that work together. It talks about the House of Representatives and the Senate. And then what does Congress do? How is a law made? Very short and sweet, keeping it fair. The Constitution also lists things that Congress cannot do. And then, of course, as Gemini always does, it has a follow-up questions. Would you like me to simplify this section on how the president can say no to a law or even further? The neat thing about that is you took this big, long, complicated article over here that's probably written for a high school or college level, and you put it into something that second graders could read and understand. Now you can take all of this, you can copy it, paste it into a Google Doc, and you can go ahead and paste it into Google Slides so that you can show it up on your smartboard. So that's a good lower school use of Ask Gemini. Let's go over here to this video that I have queued up on YouTube and show a middle school example. This video happens to be a PBS video about the Boston Tea Party for middle schoolers. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that I did for the lower school, and I'm going to come over here and click on Ask Gemini, and it's going to come up over here on the right side. Now, I've already done these to make sure that they worked. That's why you're seeing all this here, but we're going to type in a brand new prompt here in the bottom in the chat window. I'm going to change it to thinking. I'll move my face out of the way here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and speak and type at the same time. Please summarize this video into 5 key takeaways and generate 3 trick multiple choice questions for an exit ticket from class for middle schoolers. And, well, it kind of, as sometimes does, went out on me, so I'm going to try it again. Please summarize this video into 5 key takeaways and generate 3 trick multiple choice questions for an exit ticket for middle schoolers. Okay, I've done that. Now I'm going to hit submit. So what it's going to do is the Gemini is going to go through and get the transcript from that video and give me 5 key takeaways. You see them over here on the right side that are appropriate for middle schoolers. See those there. And then you have an exit ticket, some exit ticket questions. Why were the American colonists upset by the Tea Act, even though it lowered the price of tea? Second, what was the primary goal of the Sons of Liberty when they boarded the ships in Boston Harbor? How did the British government respond to the destruction of the tea? And then the best part of all, of course, is that Gemini gives us an answer key. So again, I just went to a YouTube page, and then instead of copying and pasting the URL up here and then opening Gemini over here in one of my tabs and then pasting it in there, I can just interact directly with it by using the Ask Gemini up here in the right side. All right, let's look at a high school example here. And so I have here on this website, rocks and minerals and classifying rocks. And so I have this website here that goes through the parts and the paths of the rock cycle and so forth and so on. And so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and hit Ask Gemini again. And this time over in the chat window, over in the sidebar of Gemini, I'm going to give it this particular prompt. Please extract the 5 most difficult words, vocabulary words, and create a table with their definition and a sentence about them when it comes to this article about classifying rocks. I'm going to change my thinking mode from fast to thinking, and then hit submit. And again, Gemini is going to interact directly with the website here. Okay, and here is my vocab list. Lithification, metamorphic, silica, igneous, crystallizes. I go to export that to Sheets. I can just copy and paste that. Okay, and then if you look over, let's see if we can't open this any bigger. Looks like I can't for some reason, but there we go. And so there's my table right there based on that article of the classification of rocks. And so again, just a really neat way that saves a little bit of time of you having to copy and paste stuff into Gemini and open up the Gemini app. You can just interact with it right in your sidebar there, right in Google Chrome. So I hope that is helpful, whether you be searching and using AI mode or whether you want to use Ask Gemini to interact with a specific page that you are looking at that makes your teaching a little bit easier and more effective. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. God bless.